One of the things that's really beautiful, but You Too Can Be Prosperous by Robert Russell, one of the most powerful books on prosperity. And I would really encourage you to read that book, but I would encourage you to embody that book. So don't just listen to what Robert's saying. Oh yeah, okay, I'm going to think about prosperity for 7 days. Oh yeah, I'm going to think from a new idea. Yada, yada. You Too Can Be Prosperous by Robert Russell. One of the things that's so beautiful about this book is he talks about why it's so important for you to become abundant and prosperous yourself. If I were to go and just start donating money to people, places, just giving them money, but not teaching wealth consciousness, what am I doing? I'm actually just giving you an amount of money that you can use for a small amount of time, but that doesn't change you. It doesn't change your consciousness. It doesn't change your beliefs. It doesn't change what you do. So the way in which we can help those around us change is to teach how to be abundant and prosperous. But we must become abundant and prosperous ourselves first before we can teach it. And so because there is multiple levels of abundance and prosperity, there is going to be teachers at multiple levels. So you might take a money course from somebody that has understood and has embodied the ability to manifest $10,000 months. Amazing. And you might find somebody that's learned how to manifest $100,000 a month. Incredible. But you might find somebody that has embodied multiple millions a month. And that's amazing too. So just know that there's multiple levels. And you can rise and raise on those levels as much as you absolutely want at any time. So it's really powerful and really, really beautiful. But there's always going to be more available. I just want you to keep reaching. But what I want to talk about this book, You Too Can Be Prosperous, though, that's really important. And I want us to understand is that prosperity is not money. It's not having money, right? Prosperity is a feeling. It is a vibration. You can use the word abundance if you want. So abundance is not money, right? So what is prosperity? What is abundance? It is a feeling that you have and you hold in your consciousness when money is spent, when money is put to work, when you have a perspective and a perception of abundance, of prosperity, right? So somebody could have $1,000 in their bank account and feel very prosperous, feel very abundant, but somebody could have 100,000 in their bank account and feel very limited. So it's all about perspective. It is all about perception. But what I want you to understand is the way you hold your vibration when it comes to life is what you get back. So if you are in an energy of lack and limitation continuously and constantly, nothing is ever right, nothing is ever enough, you never have enough, you are not enough, you are in a lack and limitation vibration. So what would be an abundance? What does abundance feel like? So abundance means a lot of. There's an abundance of, right? Prosperity, if you live a prosperous life, are you saying I've got a lot of money in my bank account? To live a prosperous life means I have a lot of the things that I love. I have a lot of joy. I have a lot of peace. I have a lot of calmness. I'm happy. I have fun. I can do what I want in the moment that I want to do it. That's prosperity to me. So what we're actually asking for isn't money. We're asking for an experience of life. We're asking for a feeling. We're asking for a state of being. Prosperity is a state of being. Abundance is a state of being. And you can turn that state of being on at any moment. I'm going to be abundant today, right now. I'm going to be abundance. So how would we be abundance? Abundance of rain, abundance of trees, abundance of friendships, abundance of experiences. So to be the state of being of prosperity or abundance is to allow yourself to see this all around you all the time. And if you don't see it, I would ask you why. But the key is, and what I really, really want to make sure we understand is that consciousness is what we perceive through. It's the lens with which we see life is our consciousness, right? So consciousness is spirit flowing to and through you. It's your brain, it's your actions, it's your thoughts, it's your beliefs. It's everything that you consent to be true. That's consciousness, your identity, everything. So the consciousness that I have, I see the world through that. So if I believe that I'm limited and I don't have enough and the world is really hard, I'm going to see that everywhere. That's my perspective. That's my perception. And so then my vibration every day is going to be that. And so then I'm just attracting that same experience. So I will attract a job opportunity that gives me the same amount of money that I've always pretty much made. I'm going to attract a man that pretty much treats me the same way as all the other men have treated me. So what I want you to see then is that in order for you to allow more abundance and prosperity into your life, you have to change the consciousness. So there's kind of two dualities of this. The law of opposites, the law of polarity. There's a prosperity consciousness, a wealth consciousness, and then there's a poverty consciousness. So we are not meant to be born into a poverty consciousness, but we are. Why? Because that's become the collective consciousness is geared towards this. This is why there's like the top 3% that have the top whatever percent of the money, is because the majority of us are perpetuating a poverty consciousness at whatever level. Like that doesn't necessarily mean like you might be making $100,000 a year. I wouldn't say that I lived in poverty for when I was making $100,000 a year. But from who I am today, I can tell you that was a poverty consciousness that came from lack and limitation. That limited me so deeply and so profoundly. And allowing myself to come from a wealth consciousness changed everything. So yes, you were taught a poverty consciousness. And so what I do now is I teach a wealth consciousness. And I teach you how to change the way you see you, the way you see the world, the way you experience it, the way you see God, the way that you use the software that you have, reprogram that computer, which is your mind, to make that body of yours that you're living in do different things than it's doing right now, to think different thoughts, to feel different feelings, to behave in new ways, and to do it effortlessly. So one of the most beautiful things is the awareness that the subconscious mind is the womb of creation. So change the word subconscious to unconscious. The unconscious mind is the womb of creation, which means you're not aware. You're unconscious. You don't know it. So there are things that you believe about money right now that you don't know you believe. Why I asked you to pay attention to what triggers you, pay attention to what makes you uncomfortable, pay attention to when I say things. And you're like, wow. Like when I said I had $400,000 cash come through on one day, what did you think? Oh, I can do that. Was that your thought? Oh, that's for me. I'm next. Or were you like, oh my gosh, how? As soon as you say how, you don't believe it's possible for you. Yep. Just notice it. I want that too is a brilliant answer. Yep. Then I want to get you to that's for me. I'm next. Thank you for the evidence, Kathleen. Now I know I can do it too. When I hear of somebody achieving some sort of greatness, something, they're doing it, I am like, ooh, I'm next. This is good. This is what I want you to see. But this is where if you are still limited in the amount of money you're bringing into your life, and we're always going to be limited because we want that higher level, it's time to ascend to the higher level. So whether you're making $1,000 a month right now, $10,000 a month, $100,000 a month, $1 billion a month, there is a higher level of abundance available to you should you choose to choose it and become a vibrational match to it. And I have seen absolute miracles happen in this work. Absolute miracles. We had somebody manifest almost a $2 million check. They had barely enough money to pay for our courses. They enrolled in the millionaire program and manifested nearly a $2 million check. We have had people become multimillionaires in 3 months, 4 months flat. We have had people manifest $100,000, $60,000 days, all kinds of things. So I really want you to see that it is available to anyone and everyone. But remember, there's an exchange. So if you want things to just happen from out of nowhere and there's no exchange, I would just question where that belief came from. So for me to manifest, almost $30 million in 4 years, I've invested a lot of money. I've moved a lot of energy. I've kept money circulating. And I continue to choose a higher level of me, a higher level, and a higher level. So just keep that in mind as we go through this process. Manifestation is of God. It is the work of God. And so to make manifest is to make seen, to make aware, So manifestation is just observing something in the physical world. So I'm going to manifest my dreams. I'm going to manifest more love, more money. I'm going to manifest my dream home. What we are just saying is that we are going to make it observed. We're going to make it real in the physical form. But manifestation is actually done in the mind. It's done in the imagination, and it's done with God. And so you cannot manifest without prayer, and you cannot manifest without faith, and you cannot manifest without a desire for more. And so manifestation truly is you understanding that you are not separate from, but you are one with the great creative power that has created everything that is here. And I truly believe that everything that I desire that comes through me as a want, I am meant to want that for a reason. I am meant to desire that for a reason. I am meant to experience the greatness that life has to offer so I can teach others that greatness as well. And if you are someone that is somebody that really, really believes and you talk to God a lot, I would just say that could you have an even higher level of faith in God? Could you trust God even more? And when you get to a point where you no longer even have to ask God for something, but you simply say thank you, that is the most powerful prayer there is. You don't even have to ask because you know that everything you ask for, you get. So instead, you say thank you. So I tend to do that more because my faith is at a higher level. So wherever you're at, just allow yourself to just believe a little bit more. But we don't ask God for things and wait for them to be delivered. We are the way in which it is delivered through us, the way we show up, the way we do things, etc. There's one statement that if you change your belief on this, you will forever change your experience with money. He says, wealth does not come from special talents or abilities. It does not come from influence. It does not come from physical environment or physical effort. It comes from thinking, acting, and believing in a certain way. So most of us believe that money flows to us because of we're good at this. We have a special talent. We have a special skill. We got this education. We know this. We have, oh, she has 1 million followers. Of course she's wealthy. Oh, she's beautiful and stunning. Of course people sign up for her courses. Oh, well, he grew up with a rich father, so of course he's rich. Your belief in that assumption is keeping you away from abundance and prosperity because you believe you don't have the special skill and ability. You don't believe you have the influence. You don't believe you grew up in the right environment. You don't believe that you can do enough or that you have enough hours in the day. And so it limits you. Everything that you believe to be true will be your truth. So I want you to expand what's possible instead of restrict what's available through your own thinking. Another thing that I want you to consider too, and what's so beautiful about this book, there's so much about this book. I'm just telling you that you must go read it and read it ASAP. There is a lot of language in here that might feel like it has some religious undertone to you. And if you are not a religious person, you might resist it, but just change the language to universe or source energy or whatever. But it's a very, very brilliant book. But what he says here, page 44, we master the sense of want by building an inner sense of plenty. Okay. So when you want something, I don't have it, I want it. Is that abundance? It's actually lack and limitation. So you're telling me I'm not supposed to want anything, Kathleen? How the heck am I going to have it? Okay. Let's start at want, right? So let's start at wanting money. So your desire for more money, wanting it, got you here. It got you signed up on here, listening to me, your mind now open. Okay? But I don't want you to stay there. I want you to still want it, but I want you to match the vibration of having it, right? So we master the sense of want by building an inner sense of plenty. So as long as you think that you don't have enough, that is always going to be the energy that you are going to get. Never enough, never enough. Remember, God says, yes, I need more money to pay my bills. I can't afford them. God says, yes, here's more, can't afford them. So instead, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm paying this bill. I'm so grateful for the energy that I have. I'm so grateful for the electricity that this bill has honored me with. That's how we switch it. So we can use gratitude, we can use abundance, we can use prosperity, whatever you want to do. You too can be prosperous. That's what I'm reading from. But prosperity, abundance, it is a state of being. It is a consciousness, right? And so let's look at some of the ways that we talk on a daily basis about money that is not from a prosperity and abundance consciousness. Okay. So when we say that's too expensive, what are we doing? That's too expensive. I can't afford that. I wish I could buy that. Yeah. So I remember I used to go shopping. I would go to the store and I would put a whole bunch of clothes together to buy, and I would get to the lady. And if my bill was $300 or less, so it was in the $200 range, I'd be like, okay. But then if it was like $320, I'd be like, oh, we got to take something out. So I wanted all the clothes. I knew I would use them. I knew I would wear them. They were important, but I wouldn't get that top that I wanted because it was too much money. What should we say if we really don't have the money? So what if you really don't have the money? What do you say? So you want that pair of shoes, but you don't have the money for them. What would we say? I'm choosing not to buy these today. Oh, I'm putting those shoes on my wish list. Ooh, I love those shoes. Take a picture. Leave. Don't buy them. But when you get to this place of, I want something and I can't have it because I don't have enough money for it, and I'm in lack and limitation, I'm further perpetuating, do I have a sense of plenty within me? Remember, inner sense of plenty. Let's remember this. An inner sense of plenty attracts plenty. Okay? So how can we speak in a way that reflects an inner sense of plenty instead of lack and limitation? So your homework for today is going to actually be the realization of this inner sense of plenty. I'm not getting you to do anything different. I'm not going to get you to spend more money, nothing. I want you to create within you a feeling of I have a lot. Okay, so here's some ways in which I'm going to show you how to do that. For example, if you added up all of the money that you've made in your lifetime, all the money that's come to and through you, if you've worked for 25 years at a job and you make $4,000 a month for 25 years, how much money would that be? I don't know. We're going to have to get a calculator here. I'm totally going to add it up because that's what like the average person would do. So what did I say? $4,000 a month times 12 months, that's a year, is $48,000 times 25 years. No, it's $1.2 million. 1.2, only $4,000 a month. You've made $1 million. You've moved the energy of $1 million just from you alone in your job, right? And I did that in 7 months. Yes, I did. And it was so easy. It was one of the easiest things I've ever done. I've made $1 million in a week. I have a text message actually that I texted Bob because I go back and I look at my text messages with him often. And I texted Bob and I said, Bob, remember when I made $1 million in 7 months? I just made $1 million in 7 days, but I had an inner sense of plenty, which further creates an inner sense of plenty. But I convinced myself I was a millionaire before the $1 million came. That's the key. I was $50,000 in debt when I launched my coaching business, $50,000 in debt, and I made $1 million in 7 months. So remember what Brittany just said about a catastrophic. Whoa, I went down to 50,000, not in my bank. So if you don't have any debt, wow, you're doing good. Wow, I just made $1 million in a day. This is what I'm talking about, an inner sense of plenty. I want you to look around in your house right now and take a look at all of the things that you have around you. The furniture, the books, the artwork, the paintings, the cars. You have plenty. And you can go outside of money, but we're focused upon money today. But you could do the plenty of love and of peace and of joy and movement and flow. And here's the thing. You'll realize just how plenty you have when it's all gone and it's all taken away. So me in the hospital bed in the ICU, not even able to walk. I'm so grateful for the movement of my body now that I signed up for a 10K race. I am going to run a 10K race in June. So We experience the darkness so that we can experience the light in an even brighter way. It's a contextual field. If you never experienced dark, how the heck would you know what light is? And if you've never experienced lack and limitation, how would you know what it means to be rich? It would just be your life. So the moment that you're in right now is here for you. It is here for you to experience so that this next iteration, this next level, you are more grateful for it. But I want you to see that the situation that you're in right now doesn't have to be so doom and gloom. It can be brighter. And once we make it brighter, that's the experience that we will have. So this prosperity consciousness and wealth consciousness shift, this rise in consciousness, right? This is what is needed in order for you to manifest or make visible the experience of more money in your life, right? So if I'm going to keep being the same woman I've always been with the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same actions, I'm not going to change a thing. Why do I think I'm suddenly going to have a multi-million-dollar mansion and travel the world and make $1 million on my book sales? Why would I expect that? Manifestation isn't about doing something different. It's about being something different. And what I realized the fastest way to the realization of that is this version of me today, right now that I'm talking to you, with the expression of Kathleen today, of KC, $100 million KC, it's what I call her. The expression of her was always here. She's always been here. I didn't have to go pretend to be somebody else. I didn't have to go create an identity, then try to become it, blah, 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 blah. I just reminded myself who the heck I am. So my book, The Best of Yourself, this is the new one that I have back here, right? I had to become a version of myself that is the best of myself, not better than anybody else. I am not in competition with anybody. I don't even know what half the people are doing. I'm not watching. I'm not paying attention. I'm so focused on me, on my purpose, my vision, being the best of myself, the most honest, acting with the most integrity, serving the most people I can, leading, loving, and serving to the best of my ability. And that is what allows me to experience all of the good that life has to offer. And do negative things occur around me? Oh, yes. And they do not stop. So I don't want you to all think because suddenly you have money, you're like, oh, everybody likes me and the whole world is good. And I never have an argument. I never get my heart broken and I'm never going to experience this or that. No. You're always going to experience that. It's the human experience. It's the beauty of it. But I want you to be able to ride those waves of life in such a beautiful way, right? Ride those waves. Okay, I wanted to give you an example of poverty and wealth consciousness shift. So I'm obviously one, right? So I wouldn't say that I lived in poverty, but I had a traditional life. And now, well, this is extraordinary. It's extraordinary and I'm so incredibly grateful for it. But let's say go somebody else. I love the story of The Rock. He talks about how he grew up in a really bad neighborhood, had no money, had nothing to his name. You could even see a picture of The Rock, that funny one that they show all the time with the haircut. What did he do to become who he is today? Did he believe in all the old stories that his mom and dad probably taught him? Did he believe everything that everybody that lived around him said? Did he think like everybody else? No. He saw something different for himself than anybody else was seeing for themselves. So that is the first step. You have to be willing to see something for yourself outside of what the common theme is, the common story is. So I had to quit my nursing career and all my nursing friends be like, what are you doing? My father, are you kidding me? You had pension and a benefit and you quit that? What people wouldn't give for that, Kathleen? Yeah, I did, Dad. Yes, I did. So this is where you have got to make the decision to think for yourself and to go first. So this is the power of shifting your consciousness, right? And so if The Rock had decided, I'm just like everybody else. I don't even know his name. What is it? Dwayne? He wasn't The Rock then, right? So Dwayne, if Dwayne had just been Dwayne, and had have believed the same things as Dwayne believed and all of his friends believed and his family believed, and he had have stayed, what would have happened? Would the law of attraction have brought him opportunity? Would the law of attraction have brought him more money, more fame, more experience? No. he would have just attracted the same. So he had to see something different for himself. I always talk about Shawn Mendes because it's so close to home. He's from Toronto, just right near where I am. And if you watch his documentary, he talks about how all of his friends were outside riding their bikes, playing sports, and he's inside journaling. I'm selling out the Rogers Centre. The Rogers Centre is the biggest stadium in Toronto. So he saw himself as a pop star selling out the Rogers Centre. And is there anything extremely special? Like, does he have some like magical powers? Like, no, he was someone who decided that I'm going to see something different for myself outside of from what everybody else sees for themselves. And so this is what I really want you to see, is that you've got to step outside of the box and the limitation of your own mind and your own environment, and to actually see something different for yourself. And this is where I always say, people love being in my energy because I give them permission, because I'm over here and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, we're setting $100 million goals. Oh yeah, we are going to be on a billboard in the middle of Times Square. Oh yes, you are going to be on the cover of Forbes magazine. Because why the heck not? So our lives, we are usually surrounded by people that won't understand it. They won't get it. It won't make sense at first. But the more you believe it, the more it becomes your reality. And the more that you start to shift, the bigger the experience becomes and the easier it will get. And so you want to surround yourself with people. Tony Robbins says proximity is power. And I think he's talking about it a little bit of a way as, if you're hanging out with multimillionaires, you're more likely to be a multimillionaire. Why is that? Because you're influenced positively. You're not influenced negatively. Everything comes into your life in the moment that you are meant to hear it. So the timing is absolutely divine. So if you're on here right now and you're laid off or you don't currently have a job, I want you to step into the realm of infinite possibility. I can do anything. I can be anything. I can go anywhere. Trust me, you absolutely can. And, you will get what you're asking for oftentimes. I remember I was working with somebody one-on-one and she had like an executive level career in corporate. She wanted to be a coach on her own. She wanted to have her own coaching program. She didn't want to work for anybody else. So we were setting the stage. We were creating the consciousness. I had her, okay, so as an entrepreneur that's no longer in corporate, how do you think? How do you feel? How do you behave? She started vibrating like that. They laid her off. And at first she was like, oh no, they laid me off. And I went, what are you talking about? Like, that's what you wanted. That's what you asked for. The universe responded. It gave you what you wanted. And of course, the paradigm, the limiting beliefs were like, but I'm not ready. You are. This is evidence that you're getting exactly what you asked for. So now's the time. Let's go. It was actually really beautiful. But like the first thought is like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Oh no. But it's just evidence of your power. So keep that in mind. But gosh, what would you love to do? If you could do anything, what would you love to do? How much money would you love to make? What would the experience be like for you? You can do anything. And I hope being in this energy will show you that. And so that you can literally be like, I want you to get to a place where you know in your heart that you can have anything you want as long as you have the belief that it's already done. Because the thing that limits you the most is your inability to see the thing, to believe in the thing, to be able to have faith in the thing. Old Kathleen would have been exact same place because I didn't have the awareness. The awareness was not there. So from the place where you don't have the awareness, it's like, but how? I'm stuck. I don't know. But the growth is actually figuring it out. The growth is getting there. So we set these goals, not to get the goals, but to become the version of ourselves who will have them. It's beautiful. You have to go within and ask yourself, what do I want? Do I want to work for somebody else or do I want to work for myself? Do I want to work in the house? Do I want to work outside of the house? Do I want to be in service-based or product-based? Like you can ask yourself all of these questions. Most people decide on their job or their stream of income based on how much money they think they're going to make. But you've got it all wrong. That's not how it works. We know that. It's not the talent, ability, skill, influence. It's not the vessel. Because if it was the vessel, then everyone in a certain career would make the same amount of money, right? So real estate agents, right? If it was the vessel, that was the determining factor, you would all make the exact same amount of money. All coaches would make the same amount of money. All masseuses would make the same amount of money. It's completely different everywhere you go. So what's different? This is why somebody can start a business and make $1 million in 7 months, and someone else start that exact same business and make no money. It's you, right? So we talk about this duality between masculine and feminine, the mechanical and the spiritual, right? So masculine energy is the doing, the hunter, the gatherers. The feminine energy is the nurturing, to look after the kids, to prepare the house for the meal that the man or the masculine energy is hunting. And we've attached that to men versus women over time. But if you actually look at each individual person, we have masculine and feminine qualities. Both of us do, right? So there's times where I'm going to do something different, and my ex would have looked after the kids. He would have gone into his feminine to be nurturing, so we all have the masculine and we all have the feminine energies. If you think about this work, then the spiritual versus the mechanical, right? So the mechanical is the doing. The mechanical is like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to press play on my meditation app, and I'm going to do a 30-minute meditation, and I'm going to be all up in my head and follow exactly what the meditation says. And then at the end of my meditation, I'm going to feel this way. I'm in the masculine of a spiritual activity. But spirituality is the flow, which is like the feminine. So to be spiritual means to connect to a higher calling, a higher purpose, to connect to something outside of yourself. Spirituality isn't necessarily meditation. It's not necessarily rituals. Spirituality is all within you, and it's a feeling within you. So I always say what we do here is we help you connect spiritually, but we also help you connect into the personal growth and development then. You can be highly spiritual and not tap into abundance at all. So we want you to be highly spiritual and highly abundant and prosperous. So the thing that's limiting you when it comes to money is your ideas about it that are housed in the subconscious mind. It is having you think about it differently. It's having you feel about it differently. And it's having you behave around it differently, right? So it's all about how you feel. Listen, you don't want to rely on anybody. I created this belief in myself that I am so strong. I am so powerful. I am so abundant and prosperous. I can do anything and nobody can impact me. So I get everything done. I manifest everything that I want. I created this whole idea that I'm a manifestation queen. Like, where did that come from? Me. I decided. And when I decided that that's who I was, that's the reality that happened. I am so powerful. I get everything I write down. That's what happened. But that's not what I believed before. I didn't even believe in manifestation. Are you kidding me? I didn't believe in anything outside of myself. I thought I was a body. Just the world was just happening around me, and that's all that mattered.